As a kid, I remember hearing the story of Adam and Eve eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge in the garden and thinking, why did they have to ruin it for the rest of us? They had one rule. Why couldn't they just follow it? How come our first ancestors had to make a mistake that the rest of us have to live with? I must have thought that I could do better or different. Or I must have wanted a chance to see for myself. And when we hear the story of the fall in Genesis 3 as an ending, we forget that this is a myth and an origin story that gets after what we decide to question and how doubt has always been here, and an active part of our participation with the Creator and creation. At the end of the story in Genesis 3, God seems to say, okay, plan B already. Or, this is why we can't have nice things. We can't stay here anymore. We can't undo what just happened. And so there are consequences that come out of this experience. We can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And there's two ways to interpret that moment. One is prescriptive. God is mad about their sin and their shame and the way that they hid from God, and kind of the way that they're deflecting responsibility and questioning what is good. So God is prescribing punishment. God has a choice of how to react, and God is choosing to send them into exile to satisfy God's jealousy and frustration and to create distance. That's one way to hear the story. Another way to hear the story is these consequences are descriptive. An example of that would be that when I spend all morning telling my kids to put their shoes on and get out the door so we can get to the bus stop pre-COVID and go to school, I say, put your shoes on, put your shoes on, put your shoes on. And then when we miss the bus, we didn't miss the bus because I'm mean or angry or jealous or trying to prove a point. We missed the bus because that's what happens when you don't put your shoes on. Time keeps going, and now the circumstances are different. The consequence is that Mom has to drive you to school. So I hear this moment of leaving and entering into exile as descriptive, and I want to share why. If it were prescriptive, I imagine a God, arms folded, in a huff, proving a point, staying in the garden and telling our first ancestors, good luck out there. You really screwed it up. Hope you figure it out. But instead, we have this story of a God who goes with them and says, okay, plan B. If this is going to be about relationship, I have to keep choosing us over and against my urge to be right and have things perfect. And so it is like this echo of the poem in creation, Genesis chapter 1, where we hear it is good, it is good, it is good, it is very good. We were never perfect, and perfection was never the point. So I'm wondering if you can think about other stories in Scripture or your own origin stories that can be interpreted as either prescriptive or descriptive, and how those different understandings shape the conversations that you're engaging in about who matters and what's next in the unknowable and unknown of exile. Thanks.